35.88. This sutta is also found in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 145. There it's called Punovada Sutta, advice to Puna. Then the Venerable Puna approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief, so that having heard the Dhamma from the Blessed One, I might dwell alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent and resolute. And the Buddha said, Puna, there are forms cognizable by the eye that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a monk seeks delight in them, welcomes them, and remains holding to them, delight arises in him. With the arising of delight, Puna, there is the arising of suffering, I say. There are, Puna, sounds cognizable by the ear, odors cognizable by the nose, taste cognizable by the tongue, touch or contact cognizable by the body, and thoughts cognizable by the mind that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a monk seeks delight in them, welcomes them, and remains holding to them, delight arises in him. With the arising of delight, Puna, there is the arising of suffering, I say. Puna, there are forms cognizable by the eye, smells, taste, touch, thoughts, that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. If a monk does not seek delight in them, does not welcome them, and does not remain holding to them, delight ceases in him. With the cessation of delight, Puna, there is the cessation of suffering, I say. And so the Buddha gave him this brief teaching and then told him, now that you have received this brief exhortation from me, Puna, in which country will you dwell? And he said, there is, Venerable Sir, a country named Sunaparanta. I will dwell there. Puna, the people of Sunaparanta are wild and rough. If they abuse and revile you, what will you think about that? And he said, Venerable Sir, if the people of Sunaparanta abuse and revile me, then I will think, these people of Sunaparanta are excellent, truly excellent in that they do not give me a blow with a fist. Then I will think thus, Blessed One. Then I will think thus, Fortunate One. But Puna, if the people of Sunaparanta do give you a blow with a fist, what will you think about that? Venerable Sir, if the people of Sunaparanta give me a blow with a fist, then I will think, these people of Sunaparanta are excellent, truly excellent, in that they do not give me a blow with a clod. Then I will think thus, Blessed One. Then I will think thus, Fortunate One. But Puna, if the people of Sunaparanta do give you a blow with a clod, what will you think about that? Venerable Sir, if the people of Sunaparanta give me a blow with a clod, then I will think, these people of Sunaparanta are excellent, truly excellent, in that they do not give me a blow with a rod. Then I will think thus, Blessed One. Then I will think thus, Fortunate One. But Puna, if the people of Sunaparanta do give you a blow with a rod, what will you think about that? Venerable Sir, if the people of Sunaparanta give me a blow with a rod, then I will think, these people of Sunaparanta are excellent, truly excellent in that they do not stab me with a knife. Then I will think thus, Blessed One. Then I will think thus, Fortunate One. But Puna, if the people of Sunaparanta do stab you with a knife, what will you think about that? Venerable Sir, if the people of Sunaparanta stab me with a knife, then I will think, these people of Sunaparanta are excellent, truly excellent, in that they do not take my life with a sharp knife. Then I will think thus, Blessed One. Then I will think thus, Fortunate One. But Puna, if the people of Sunaparanta do take your life with a sharp knife, what will you think about that? Venerable Sir, if the people of Sunaparanta take my life with a sharp knife, then I will think, there have been disciples of the Blessed One who, being repelled, humiliated and disgusted by the body and by life, sought for an assailant, in other words, to kill them. But I have come upon this assailant even without a search. Then I will think thus, Blessed One. Then I will think thus, Fortunate One. And the Buddha said, good, Puna. Endowed with such self-control and peacefulness, you will be able to dwell in the Sunaparanta country. Now, Punna, you may go at your own convenience. Then, having delighted and rejoiced in the Blessed One's statement, the Venerable Punna rose from his seat, paid homage to the Blessed One, and departed, keeping him on his right. He then set his lodging in order, took his bowl and outer robe, and set out to wander towards the Sunaparanta country. Wandering by stages, he eventually arrived in the Sunaparanta country, where he dwelt. Then during that rain season, the Venerable Punna established 500 male lay followers and 500 female lay followers in the practice, and he himself, during that same rains, realized the three true knowledges, and during that same rains he attained final Nibbana. Then a number of monks approached the Blessed One, paid homage and sat down and said, Venerable Sir, the clansman named Punna, who was given a brief exhortation by the Blessed One, has died. What is his destination? What is his future born? And the Buddha said, Monks, the clansman Punna was wise. He practiced in accordance with the Dhamma and did not trouble me on account of the Dhamma. The clansman Punna has attained final Nibbana. That's the end of the sutta. So at the end, this last part, the Buddha said, he practiced in accordance with the Dhamma and did not trouble me on account of the Dhamma. That means after the Buddha taught him the Dhamma, I didn't ask too much unnecessary questions and all that. So you see, this monk, he was one of the monks during the Buddha's time who went to various parts of India to teach the Dhamma. So he knew that these people of Sunaparanta are very fierce people, very hard to convert them, and it might even take your life. But because he was so dedicated to the Dhamma, so he decided to go there. So he went there, and then he managed to convert 500 laymen and 500 lay women, practice the Dhamma. And during the rain season, he himself attained arahanthood and attained the three true knowledges. That means he had psychic power. But somehow, I don't know why he died within the same rains. I don't know whether he was killed or he died naturally. So a lot of people, they don't understand. They say the arahants are selfish, only practice for themselves. Actually, you see the Buddha's disciples, they went to so many places to spread the Dhamma. Now you find a lot of countries, no more Buddhists. They used to be very strong Buddhist countries, like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Tibet. The next sutta is 35.93, page 1172. The Buddha said, Monks, consciousness comes to be in dependence on a diet, on two things, diet, dual. And how, monks, does consciousness come to be in dependence on a diet? In dependence on the I and forms, there arises I consciousness. The I is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Forms are impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Thus this diet is moving and tottering, impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. I consciousness is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the arising of I consciousness is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When monks, I consciousness has arisen in dependence on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that I consciousness arises dependent on two things. That there is the I and there are forms for you to see. So since I consciousness depends on the I and the forms, and these two things are impermanent, so the I consciousness being dependent on impermanent things, so the I consciousness is even more impermanent since it depends on impermanent conditions. The meeting, the encounter, the concurrence of these three things is called eye contact. Eye contact too is impermanent. changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the arising of eye contact is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When monks, eye contact has arisen in dependence on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Contacted monks, one feels, contacted one intends, contacted one perceives. Thus these things too are moving and tottering, impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. In other words, once you have contact at the eye base, then feeling arises, and then intention arises, perception arises, all this. Similarly, in dependence on the ear and sounds, there arises ear consciousness. In dependence on the nose and smells, there arises nose consciousness. In dependence on the tongue and taste, there arises tongue consciousness. In dependence on the body and touch, there arises body consciousness. In dependence on the mind and thoughts, there arises mind consciousness. And these sense bases are impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. And the sense objects are also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. So the consciousness that arises is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. The cause and condition for the arising of the sixth sense consciousness is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When monks, the sixth sense consciousness has arisen in dependence on conditions that are impermanent, how could they be permanent? The meeting, the encounter, the concurrence of these three things is called contact. Contact too is impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. Condition for the arising of contact is also impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. When monks, contact has arisen in dependence on a condition that is impermanent, how could it be permanent? Contacted monks, one feels, contacted one intends, contacted one perceives. Thus these things too are moving and tottering, impermanent, changing, becoming otherwise. It is in such a way, monks, that consciousness comes to be in dependence on a diet, on two things. So here the Buddha is saying that the world that arises in our sense bases is dependent on so many factors. All these are impermanent. So how can we want to cling to anything in the world that is dependent on so many conditions that are impermanent? So if we cling to the things in the world that are impermanent, we are clinging to suffering. We will only experience suffering. Next sutta is 35.95. Then the Venerable Malunkhya Putta approached the Blessed One and said to him, Venerable Sir, it would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief, so that having heard the Dhamma from the Blessed One, I might dwell alone, diligent, withdrawn, ardent and resolute. And the Buddha said, Hear now, Malunkhya Putta, what should I say to the young monks? When a monk like you, old, aged, burdened with years, advanced in life, come to the last stage, ask me for an exhortation in brief. So here the Buddha is saying, this Malunkhya Putta is very old and is asking the Buddha for brief instructions. So the Buddha says, if for somebody so old like you, if you ask for brief instructions, then for younger monks, I should give even more brief instructions. And then he said, Although, Venerable Sir, I am old, aged, burdened with years, advanced in life, come to the last stage, let the Blessed One teach me the Dhamma in brief. Let the Fortunate One teach me the Dhamma in brief. Perhaps I may understand the meaning of the Blessed One's statement. Perhaps I may become an heir to the Blessed One's statement. And the Buddha said, What do you think, Malunkhya Putta? Do you have any desire, lust or affection for those forms cognizable by the eye that you have not seen and never saw before, that you do not see and would not think might be seen? No, Venerable Sir. So if there's something that you have not seen before, surely you will not have any desire, lust or affection for it. Do you have any desire, lust or affection for those sounds cognizable by the ear, for those smells, taste, touch and thoughts that you have not known before, and you do not now know, and would not in the future know. And he says, no, Venerable Sir. Here, Malunkyā Putta, regarding things seen, heard, sensed and cognized by you. In the seen there will be merely the seen. In the heard there will be merely the heard. In the sense there will be merely the sensed. In the cognized there will be merely the cognized. In other words, the Buddha is saying, whatever you see, hear, etc., at the six senses, just know it. Don't start conceiving, have ideas. When Malunkyā Putta, regarding things seen, heard, sensed and cognized by you, in the seen there will be merely the seen. In the heard there will be merely the heard. In the sense there will be merely the sensed. In the cognized there will be merely the cognized. Then Malunkyā Putta, you will not be by that. When Malunkyā Putta, you are not by that, then you will not be therein. When Malunkyā Putta, you are not therein, then you will be neither here nor beyond, nor in between the two. This itself is the end of suffering. Stop here for a moment. Here the Buddha is talking about the seen and the heard that takes care of two senses, the eye and the ear. And then the last one is cognized, is the mind. So the sense refers to the other three. That means the smell, the taste and the touch. Refers to the sense. See? You catch it? Seen, heard, sense and cognized refers to six sense bases. So the seen and the heard is the first two, right? The eye and the ear. The cognized is the last one, the mind. So the sense refers to the third, the fourth and the fifth. Merely the nose base, the tongue base and the body base. That refers to the sense. So the Buddha says, if you only know that in the seen there is the seen, in the heard there is the heard, in the sense there is the sense, in the cognized there is only the cognized, then you will not be by that. What do you mean by not be by that? You will not be born by that. You will not be caught by that. You will not be attached by that. And then when you are not caught by that, then you will not be therein. That means you won't be caught therein. Then when you are not caught by the desire and lust therein, then there will be neither here nor beyond nor in between the two. So there won't be rebirth in the human realm or some other realm beyond or in between the two, the intermediate state. This is the end of suffering. And then this monk said, I understand in detail, Venerable Sir, the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. Having seen a form with mindfulness muddled, attending to the pleasing sign, one experiences it with infatuated mind and remains tightly holding to it. That is caught by that. Many feelings flourish there within, originating from the visible form. Covetousness and annoyance as well, by which one's mind becomes disturbed. For one who accumulates suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be far away. Similarly, having heard a sound with mindfulness muddled, having smelled an odor, enjoyed a taste, felt a contact, having known an object with mindfulness muddled. For one who accumulates suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be far away. When firmly mindful, one sees a form. One is not inflamed by lust for forms. One experiences it with dispassionate mind and does not remain holding it tightly. One fares mindfully in such a way that even as one sees the form and while one undergoes a feeling, suffering is exhausted, not built up. For one dismantling suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be close by. When firmly mindful, one hears a sound, one is not inflamed by lust for sounds. Similarly, when firmly mindful, one smells an odor, one is not inflamed by lust for odors. When firmly mindful, one enjoys a taste, one is not inflamed by lust for taste. When firmly mindful, one feels a contact, one is not inflamed by lust for contacts. and firmly mindful, one knows an object in the mind. One is not inflamed by lust for objects. For one, diminishing suffering thus, Nibbana is said to be close by. It is in such a way, Venerable Sir, that I understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by the Blessed One in brief. And the Buddha said, "Good, good, Malunkyā Putta. It is good that you understand in detail the meaning of what was stated by me in brief." And the Buddha repeated the entire verses that Malunkyā Putta said. It is in such a way, Malunkyā Putta, that the meaning of what was stated by me in brief should be understood in detail. Then the Venerable Malunkyā Putta, having delighted and rejoiced in the Blessed One's words, rose from his seat, and after paying homage to the Blessed One, keeping him on his right, he departed. Then dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent and resolute, the Venerable Malunkyā Putta, by realizing it for himself with direct knowledge, in this very life entered and dwelt in that unsurpassed goal of the holy life, for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth from the household life into homelessness. He directly knew, destroyed his birth, the holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more for this state of being. And the Venerable Malunkyā Putta became one of the Arahants. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, this old monk came into monkhood at a very old age, but because he had such a strong determination, he still practiced until he attained arahanthood. Actually, when we practice the holy path, sincerity is very important. If we are sincere, then a lot of things we can give up, including our pride, including our all the unwholesome states. 35.96. The Buddha said, "Monks, I will teach you about one who is subject to decline, about one who is not subject to decline, and about the 6 mastered bases. Listen to that. And how, monks, is one subject to decline? Here, monks, when a monk has seen a form with the eye, there arise in him evil, unwholesome states, memories and intentions connected with the fetters. If the monk tolerates them and does not abandon them, dispel them, put an end to them, and obliterate them, he should understand this thus: I am declining away from wholesome states, for this has been called decline by the Blessed One. Further, monks, when a monk has heard a sound with the ear, smelled an odor with the nose, tasted a taste with the tongue, contacted a touch with the body, or thought a thought with the mind, there arise in him evil, unwholesome states, memories and intentions connected with the fetters. If the monk tolerates them and does not abandon them, dispel them, put an end to them, and obliterate them, he should understand this thus: I am declining away from wholesome states, for this has been called decline by the Blessed One. It is in such a way, monks, that one is subject to decline." I stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that when the 6 sense objects impinge on our 6 sense bases, then because of habit, evil and wholesome states based on memories and intentions arise. And then if a monk tolerates them, that means instead of getting rid of those thoughts, he still entertains the thoughts and he finds pleasure in the thoughts, then that is declining from wholesome states. And then the Buddha continued. And how, monks, is one not subject to decline? Here, monks, when a monk has seen a form with the eye, there arise in him evil and wholesome states, memories and intentions connected with the fetters. If the monk does not tolerate them, but abandons them, dispels them, puts an end to them, and obliterates them, he should understand this thus: I am not declining away from wholesome states, for this has been called non-decline by the Blessed One. Further, monks, when a monk has heard a sound, smelled an odor, contacted a touch, and tasted a taste with the tongue, and thought with the mind, there arise in him evil and wholesome states, memories and intentions connected with the fetters. If the monk does not tolerate them, but abandons them, dispels them, puts an end to them, and obliterates them, he should understand this thus: I am not declining away from wholesome states, for this has been called non-decline by the Blessed One. It is in such a way, monks, that one is not subject to decline. Stop here for a moment. So, a monk does not decline if, when there is contact at the six sense doors and unwholesome states arise, then he recognizes them. He does not entertain them, puts a stop to all these unwholesome thoughts. Then he will not decline. And what monks are the six mastered bases? Here, monks, when a monk has seen a form with the eye, there do not arise in him evil unwholesome states, nor any memories and intentions connected with the fetters. The monk should understand this thus: this base has been mastered, for this has been called a mastered base by the Blessed One. Further, monks, when a monk has heard a sound with the ear, smelled a smell, contacted a touch, tasted a taste, or have a thought, there do not arise in him evil unwholesome states, nor any memories and intentions connected with the fetters. The monk should understand this thus: this base has been mastered, for this has been called a mastered base by the Blessed One. These monks are called the six mastered bases. So the first part is about a monk in training who has not finished his work. Even though he has attained Sotapanna or Sakadagamin, when there is contact at the six sense doors, because of habit, when we see a beautiful form, we want to see again. So if you know that it's not wholesome, then you turn your eye away, you don't entertain it, especially the thoughts that arise from there. So similarly for the other six sense bases. So a monk in training, this will happen naturally, that unwholesome thoughts tend to arise every now and then. But because a monk is training towards revulsion, he cannot straight away get rid of the thoughts. He has to put in effort. Then when he puts in effort to dispel unwholesome states of mind, then he will not decline. But the last part is about the mastered basis, concerns the Arahant. The Arahant has finished his work, so that when his six senses contact anything, unwholesome states do not arise. He has cut off the tendency towards these unwholesome states. So this is interesting because in the other suttas, the Buddha talks about how a monk is, mastered the body, but not mastered the mind. So you can take some time to master the body, you don't indulge in these unwholesome things, but the mind still takes some time to master. So I'll stop here for tonight. Anything to discuss? And compared to the first book, this like the third book and this the fourth book, is more heavy going. Now we have the microphone. Anybody want to use? Yeah.
During the Buddha days, monks usually would ask the Buddha to teach the Dhamma in three, and then they would go and practice institution on their own. But usually, the Buddha would not agree to let monks, not all the time that they allow monks to practice institution on their own. These days, we have newly ordained monks, and even Salayatana, they prefer to practice institution on their own without a teacher. So, we also know that the Buddha places the eye practice on Indriya Samvara and Veda. So, where do we draw the line? Given that Buddha is no more yet. So, most monks, after ordination, they come back, they are on their own. So, we can please enlighten us on this for serious action. What should we do?
Actually, the Vinaya books are quite clear about this. The Buddha said that generally a new monk should train with an experienced teacher and for 5 years. And the purpose of this training for 5 years is to understand the suttas and the Vinaya thoroughly, and other things that a monk needs to know. So this is the general rule that a new monk should stay with a teacher. But the Buddha gave allowed exceptions. The exceptions allowed is like a monk has come into monkhood late in life, so he doesn't have much time. So if he wants to practice alone, strive very hard in meditation and live alone, the Buddha allows that. But even then, he should have a firm foundation in the suttas, because the Buddha in one of the Satipatthana suttas, when a monk asked for instructions on meditation, the Buddha said, first you must establish 2 foundations. One is sila, moral conduct, that is basic for everybody. And secondly, the Buddha said you must have right view. And right view, according to the suttas, comes from learning the suttas. Only when you learn the suttas, the original discourses of the Buddha, then only you can get right view. So after you have right view, then you go and meditate, practice, then the chances of going on the right path is good. But if a monk does not learn the suttas and then straight away he goes into practice of meditation, he may go the wrong way and never achieve anything. So it's very important to get right view first. So generally that is the case with monks. If they want to live alone, they should first get right view. So we are very fortunate nowadays, like the Buddha's time. The Buddha's words are all in black and white, in the book form. So if a monk takes the trouble to study the Nikaya books, he can also get right view. In that case, if he doesn't want to follow a teacher, then it's okay. But generally, a monk does not follow a teacher only if he's come into monkhood old. If he's still young, then he has time. He should follow a teacher, get guidance from the teacher whenever possible. The other thing is a lot of monks, we notice nowadays, like Malaysian monks, soon after they are ordained, they start going overseas. They go to Burma, they go to Sri Lanka, they go to Thailand, they go to Taiwan, they go everywhere. Go India, go China. Actually, in the Vinaya books, it's not allowed. A young monk, wherever he wants to go, he should be accompanied by a senior monk, because a young monk, he is not disciplined or trained yet, so he may misbehave or get into some trap or make some mistake or other, so or not conduct himself well. So if a monk has not had 5 vasas, has not completed 5 years of monkhood, he should never travel alone, unless in exceptional cases where you cannot find a senior monk to accompany him. Otherwise, wherever he goes out of the monastery, he should not leave the monastery on his own. So a lot of monks nowadays, they don't study the sutta and the Vinaya. They don't know all these rules, so they just go here, go there.
Is it possible for him to be undone or maybe drop the defenses and useful?
If a monk has attained right view, that means he has attained stream entry. So you have attained stream entry, then he is an Arya. And if he is an Arya, it's not possible for him to do certain things like break the major precepts. It's not possible. What page? 1688. Page what? Page what?
1166. It is because I see directly known sensations to the eye consciousness and things that connect to the eye consciousness. But to believe that sensations to the eye consciousness.
It could be there is attained the state where this consciousness ceases, which means what we call the cessation of perception and feeling above the arupa jhanas, above all the jhanas. You have this state called cessation of perception and feeling, where the sixth consciousness stops. When the sixth consciousness stops, the world also disappears. The body and the world and the eye, everything disappears. When a person comes out of that state, it's a very high state, he either becomes an anagamin or an arahant.
One more question, page 1169. He is not for excellent with what you mean by that. I mean, when you practice the body life, you think that soft for excellent with excellent.
Oh yeah. This one, there are some monks, they practice like the 32 parts of the body, loathsomeness of the body, and then they are repelled by the body, disgusted by the body, and then they want somebody to kill them. They look for somebody to kill them, take their life. Yeah. This one, it should not happen if that person understands the Dhamma. It should not happen. That's why right view is very important. A person does not have right view, he practice, become disgusted with the body, and then he wants to commit suicide. So it so happened in the Vinaya books, there was a time when the monks, there was the early part of the Buddha, not so long after the Buddha was enlightened, he taught his disciples only one meditation on the loathsomeness of the body, 32 parts of the body. So the monks practiced very hard, and then they became disgusted with the body. Then Mara, one of Mara's devas, entered the body of a monk, and then this monk used to be a butcher or something. So he asked the monks, he said, who is disgusted with the body? I will bring you to Nibbana faster. So he, being a butcher before, he got a very sharp knife. So some of them were very disgusted with life. They asked him to take their life. So I slit their throat or what. So at that time the Buddha went into seclusion, I think for 2 weeks. When the Buddha came out of seclusion, he found the number of monks reduced. He asked Ananda why. Ananda said, many of the monks were disgusted with their body, then they allowed this fellow to take their life. Then Ananda asked the Buddha to teach another meditation subject out of compassion. And then the Buddha taught Anapanasati. And then when the Buddha taught Anapanasati, then the Buddha said that before enlightenment, the Tathagata practiced Anapanasati. And even after enlightenment also, the Tathagata practices Anapanasati. Any other thing?
Just so you're mentioning that it is easy, body and mind, it's easy for us to master or ourselves to the physical change. But the mind is difficult to control. Just one wow. How can we stop ourselves?
Or takes a lot of effort, many years of effort. That's why the Buddha said, we need to attain jhana. When you have jhana, then the mind becomes strong, and you can see clearly, and also you have the strength of mind to do what should be done, and not do what should not be done. Very often our mind is not strong. We know we should not do something, we still go and do it. And sometimes we know that we should do something, we are lazy and all this thing, but the mind is not strong. So only when the mind is very focused, then we can see very clearly what we should do, what we should not do, and we have the strength of mind to go and do or not do. For example, a lot of people commit adultery. Not that they don't know it's wrong, they know it's wrong, but the flesh is weak. Come and transfer merit.